theme park.
Safety first, Jackie. Always safety first. And that is something that Santos need to think about here, because if they don't, Team Liquid, they could be waiting like that strut of a roller coaster, just holding the ride up, ready to clip at hands and feet that are left outside the car, Jackie. And Team Liquid will break limbs off you very, very quickly.
Oh, mate, don't do it. That'd be like going to Chessington World of Adventure, going on the vampire ride and extending your legs. It's a bad move. Just don't do it. Silly.
I'd probably be fine.
Yeah, well, I suppose
My
so.
legs are very short.
We'd have to give you some high heels, Tim.
I might lose them, but it ain't going to be touching my legs. I'm not worried.
I'd love that. A little animation of you on the vampire ride, just wearing high heels. They just go flying off. You're there going, what? What's happened?
They just get clipped as I'm going over a piece of scenery. But the legs are fine.
Oh, that's all that matters.
They're nowhere near long enough.
Oh, no. Not at all. Not the base legs. Maybe if we get you a little expansion. But for now, the vanilla Tim legs are fine. Oh, mate. Right. Hopefully this one's going to be fine as well. Better than fine, even. As we go into theme park, Tim. First opening round, of course, Liquid. They're on the defense. Santos, they will be your attackers for this one. Genuinely, I think it's rough as well. For Santos, of course, coming in on the attack. I don't know if that even favours them at all. Scardina was always good on the entry, but when you're trying to get past the team of Team Liquid that can hold angles like no one else, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, as I say, you know, Liquid on the defence. Again, hit and miss, really, in Stage 1 over the 2 times that we saw them play Theme Park. Bunk Daycare, Armory Throne Room were their 2 strongest sites. 66% win ratio on both. They were completely unsuccessful at defending Initiation and Office. But I'm sure that they've been doing some work on the map. You know, we talk about map pools over and over, and it's all about having as broad a map pool as you can. You don't want to be coming into maps thinking, you know, we don't want to play here, because that is when you lose them effectively. So I'm sure Liquid have been doing some work on Theme Park and just developing themselves a little bit more. I think it's a really nice competitive map, so I don't think it's going anywhere soon. Teams are better off getting to grips with this, because there are 4 very viable sites. There's a lot of variety available, and I, for one, I think it'll be sticking around, and I really like it.
No, it's good. It's enjoyable. I think it has a different flavour to a lot of the other maps that are in the pool as well. So, personally, I hope we get to see some of that flavour coming out. Nesk, he's a very flavourful man. He gives us a hefty handful of it. Ooh, digest that. It tastes like death.
It really does, Nesk. Absolutely deleting Rise out of the round. That's the sort of kill that worries me, Jackie, if I'm Santos, because it's not just an entry frag. It's not just we've lost somebody. It's Nesk strafing across, clipping a headshot, and just decimating somebody that probably shouldn't have lost a life in that gunfight. And if that's how Nesk is starting, then how is he going to finish? Because as soon as that man gets his confidence up, you're in big trouble, top and bottom of it. He's going to run all over you. And right now, that's the sort of start that leads to those sort of performances for him.
I mean, it was definitely saucy. Like, you could, you know.
Oh, that's got lashings of ketchup on it, Jackie.
Oh, mate, genuinely. Ketchup, mayonnaise. This man is the human embodiment of burger sauce.
Certainly is, and tasty treats he is delivering left and right in this server, and if he gets any opportunity, he will do more. Now, good progress from Santos on the attack. They've got Ace in, and they've got that wall opened up, but how about that for a well-timed smoke just right onto Mighty? He takes a lungful of that noxious gas, only does a little bit of damage, manages to move himself away quite quickly, but there's a lot of focus towards that breach at the minute from Team Liquid, but very little damage done so far, except for Scardina deleting Nesk headshot from across the map onto those cafe stairs, and that's going to be the Jaeger gone by the by. But with only 20 seconds left to go, this is going to come down to one of those very late round pushes that I was talking about. It'll all be through the breach. Out comes the nitro from Moringa onto Wag, gonna take him down. PSK, Sexy Kate getting in on the action. It's the shotgun on the breach. It is the absolute hallmark of this site. And there comes Moringa to finish things off. SMG to the noggin takes Cyprus off the board. Team Liquid take round number 1, and they look pretty good for it.
Clean, Super, super clean the whole way through. They have wiped the floor with Santos there into that encounter. Obviously, you get the opening pick from that point. They played the trade game. They turtled up. They didn't get overly aggressive. The next frag came through, but it didn't matter because you're then pushing into a site that we know can be a little bit volatile to get control of at the best of times, up against Team Liquid that are foaming at the mouth, ready for the next encounter. And they encountered a terrifying sight. They pushed their way in, they get overpowered, the shotgun was on point, good use of utility as well with the nitros getting chucked out. They just pick them to pieces.
I think we're going to be heading to bunk and daycare, if my Portuguese serves me well, which... very limited though it may be, it certainly does, and that will be the site for round number 2. Team Liquid coming in to defend it. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of an extension out into Initiation and Office. We've got Moringa just applying a mute jammer there to the Office wall. So usually we see a man playing in or around the vault with a deployable shield. Wouldn't surprise me too much. The rotation there has been made to allow whoever is playing in there out of vault, so I would expect to see somebody there. Sexy Cake just heading out with the Whammer. So basically what they're trying to achieve here, Team Liquid, is they're extending their defense up into Initiation and Office, because generally speaking, an attacking push onto Bunk and Daycare is going to come from that Initiation and Office side. Teams are going to try and push in through Cash Room and top of Dragon Stairs, and then they're going to move across the map, clear out any defenders they find along the way, until ultimately they are pushing into site, where generally they'll try and get the diffuser down in the bunk room. But by pushing forward, Team Liquid are taking an aggressive stance, and they're just trying to hold that defense right high up in the faces of Santos and not let them get too established in the map. They're going to be able to get into cash, they're going to be able to get into control, but that is all they will get before they start getting challenged.
Challenging is what the entire game is going to be from Santos. The first round, I think, really does give us a little bit of a taster of the way it's likely to go, where Liquid were just dominant from the opening moments. This time around, at least, they've burnt essentially through a minute, but they haven't found too much off the back of that. They're using a lot of time, but they're not really gaining any map control or being able to establish an early on opening pick. Team Liquid, they hold strong. Nesk, he's in a fairly effective angle here as well, towards the showers. He will either be dropping someone if they push through, or it'll be left essentially like a bit of a puddle in the corner of the showers if he's unlucky. For now, dashes back after spotting out one of the drones, also has the access point here towards the stairway as well. That's a lovely little angle. He could really cause some commotion unless he's scouted out.
Sexy Cake just holding that high line. We can see that the reinforced wall has been breached, still playing in behind that Goyo shield. The ADS just coming in clutch there to take the nade out of the sky before it can explode. He knows exactly where the men are. Falls back to his second line of defense. Now, from here, he can allow the Goyo shield to be taken out. The smoke canister will come in, but will not really prevent Sexy Cake from holding what he wants to here. He's just going to move inside the door now. There's a man inside. He's completely unaware. He has to lose his life there, and that's the opener for Mighty. Well played, moving in through that smoke, just taking the opportunity with that reduced visibility to get in there without Sexy Cake being aware, and by pushing up, aggressing past that second line of defense of the deployable shield, he left himself in a very vulnerable spot. Nesk, it will be stepping up, leveling things out. 4 versus 4 squared off as he takes Scardinia out. And that now leaves us with 35 seconds left. And Santos, they need to get moving here.
That's why it scares me as well, because Santos, this is looking so much like the initial round. And again, you're coming into a site where you don't have much time. You have to walk into choke points. You have to walk into the unknown. And they will be going into the fray. Look at the nitro going fly, and we catch it from the doorway as it causes disarray. Mighty's been blown to bits. There's a kill back, but it's not going to be enough, as it seems like it's going to be a grade A play from Team Liquid. Although, in the distance, Nesk doesn't miss the initial counter. Cypress, he grabs the diffuser, but he's got to get it open. Oh, Tim, he drops it down. He can't crack it open and begin the plant. It doesn't matter as time is up. You might have still been in the round, but you're out of the runnings.
just unable to get the diffuser down now. Anybody watching wondering what was going on there? I think it's probably because he was so close to the bomb chassis. Sometimes you will find if you are right up against it effectively, I think what is happening is there's not physically space for the animation. I could be completely wrong in this. It's just something that I've experienced once or twice, and it seems to be the case that you just don't have room for that sort of physical animation of the diffuser going down in front of you, and it just takes a step or two back. But when you've got 1 second left on the clock, it doesn't leave you the wiggle room to do that. And we are working with fine margins here, which Santos find out to their detriment. Now, of course, there was still a Liquid player left alive as well. So as soon as that diffuser starts going down, it's in the default spot. The clock is on 0. The Liquid player knows that they can just push forward and take the kill. So very unlikely that that actually cost Santos the round. It was likely to be over anyway. But solid performance from them. They didn't get rocked too hard. They managed to get that opening kill from Sexy Cake. It bounced backwards and forwards, but they certainly kept themselves competitive in the round. Team Liquid, however, managed to get a scrappy one over the line, and that is what it takes. As I say, time and time again for championship sides, it's not just about winning the easy ones. You've got to be able to take the scrappy rounds as well.
I mean, that's why it's so upsetting that the round ended in that fashion as well, right? Because it was a good opportunity for them to pick up a clutch round, put Team Liquid into a bit of a more unstable position, at least keep the game close, go 1-1, and then it all goes a little bit Pete-tong in the last few seconds. You can't get down the diffuser, you can't get anything else out of it, and it's soul-crushing. You lose a round like that, it is a bit of a tilter. So hopefully they can reset, give their heads a wobble, and come back in fresh for round 3. Continue on with the style of play they've been showing as well, because they can hit shots. We know they can back it up. We need to see if the newcomers to the roster can also display the same level of confidence that we've seen over the course of Stage 1 from Scardina, from Mighty, from Cyprus. They've all been big dogs, especially Scardina. He is no stranger to ripping heads off when it comes to getting those initial entry frags on the Ash. Let's see who will be winning that opening duel this time around, though, when push comes to shove. At this point, almost down towards the 2-minute mark here on the third round, Team Liquid, they're going to be looking to secure themselves, at minimum, these first 3 rounds on the spin to give themselves a good buffer, Tim.
Palu a little bit quiet so far. We spoke about him at the beginning of things. We're only 2 rounds in. There's plenty of time for him to get himself rolling, but we haven't really seen too much of an impact from him so far. It's been Nesk getting particularly aggressive and holding those high lines, but Sexy Cake it will be this time on the Wamai right up there against that east wall there, just absolutely, completely and utterly denying any easy entry for these Santos players in towards site. Now, sometimes you sort of get the reverse of what you see on the Bunk and Daycare sighting. You actually get a west side push coming through Bunk and Daycare to push onto Initiation and Office. But more and more, we seem to be seeing this sort of direct push from the east side. Just try and get into cash, try and get yourself established in control as well, and then move through directly into site. It is certainly a shorter path. There is a little bit less resistance there, but resistance is being met, and 2 minutes wasted here so far for Santos, not really making any great progress. They've only just got themselves established inside the map. You can see there has been quite a bit of focus from Team Liquid over on the cafe side as well, so they are well aware that this could be a push from 2 directions. But as it stands, it seems like Santos, they are just spearheading this through one sole direction, and that is the east side.
And that's why it's terrifying me a little bit. I'm getting worried for them because this appears to be the play they've gone for a couple of times already. They're bottlenecking themselves, walking into choke points and being choked because of it. The man that wants to do some damage, though, is Sexy Cake. As he swings, he'll take a bite right out of Rise and instead start to raise the chance of Santos getting around. They go for the plant. They're attempting to risk it. They have actually got cover for this. Unless Sexy goes for a wide swing here, they might be able to pull it off. He shuts down one of them, but he can't get the follow-up. He's instead finally put to rest. Mighty can also be revived from this state. He's down but not out. But I tell you who is out of it. The likelihood of Santos getting this one by one. They all crumble like a biscuit that's gone a bit stale. Santos have dropped out in the round. Liquid will get the defuse, only losing Sexy. That's a 4-man round to pick up their 3rd so far here on Theme Park.
Yep, the Santos attack had been dunked in a brew a few too many times there. Jackie in the bottom half just found itself at the bottom of the mug, waiting for a teaspoon to try and come and scoop it out. And that teaspoon was Team Liquid. I'll bet that they've never been Never quite been compared to a teaspoon digging out a hobnob from the bottom of a brew before, Jackie.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right? That is a genuine problem. It's one of those where you can be a fan of Dunker. Some people aren't Dunkers. I am a Dunky myself. I do enjoy getting the biscuit in there. But if you leave it in too long, you run the risk of it just going horribly wrong. At that point, what are you doing? You've ruined the tea. You've ruined the biscuit, Tim. It's a nightmare. Start again.
See, for me, I'm not much of a brew drinker, Jackie, so my dunking efforts are generally isolated to glasses of nice cold milk. I don't know if you've ever tried dipping a biscuit in a bit of milk, but something, a lighter coloured biscuit I generally find. Obviously, you don't want to be whacking any chocolate in there or anything, but, something nice and easy. You can pop in there and, yeah, very tasty.
See, now you say that, but I feel like you say a chocolate hobnob would be very good dunked in a glass of milk. I reckon
only one way to find out. Only one way to find out. I was thinking like my go-to is something like a malted milk.
Ooh. Well, if you at home are a donkey or a fan of chocolate hobnobs, tweet at us, #BR6, and let us know for our new segment, The Biscuit Breakdown. Send in your tweets and we'll have a look.
Producer Simon's panicking, trying to get some graphics together.
Oh, right. Well, let's give a bit of a breakdown for anyone that might have just joined us and is curious about what the biscuit conversation is about. It's because Team Liquid are smashing it right now. They've come out strong. They've been able to pick up 3 rounds on the spin here against Santos on the attack. They get a couple of entry frags. It's not as if they're not even hitting their shots. It's just they're leaving themselves with no time for the execution. They're not forcing out utilities. They're going up against a side that can turtle on site, play the trade game, and most likely win it with no time to waste. It just feels a bit rushed, Tim. They've gone through choke points countless times now, and they're not finding any success here on Santos.
Absolutely not. Now, we can see WAG is making early progress once again towards that maintenance wall. It was something that they did very well, Santos, last time around when they were attacking Throne Room back in round number 1, is they got that maintenance wall open nice and early. They've got the Maverick approaching as well with Mighty, so the potential is there for Ace once again to get that wall breached, but ultimately they suffered what is becoming a cardinal sin of Throne Room, and that is ultimately pushing through that breach solely, because all that happens is you get one man on the opposite wall with an SMG, you get one man tight on the breach wall with a shotgun, and it is good night. It's just one after another as you filter in. There needs to be pressure from somewhere else. I feel like the pressure either needs to come from Barrel Room, which is directly opposite, or even from the corridor on the north wall. You just need another breach into sight, even if you don't plan to use it, just to force the defenders to look somewhere else, because Team Liquid suffered to this a number of times last season, and they've taken that information with aplomb and just started utilising it themselves.
Oh, what's worrying me already is I feel like we are just going to have history repeat itself once more here from Santos, because already you've got nearly 60 seconds left. You're not giving yourself an abundance of time to play with. You're also going up against Team Liquid. They can lock down a site with ease, and hopefully this might be a round where we get to see a little bit more of Palu flex his muscles. He's not really needed to have one of his stellar, normal, gigantic impacts into the game. He's been allowed to have a bit of a quiet one. But right now, on the roam, he could put some players to bed, looking more like the Sandman than a Goyo. Chucks out the Nitro. This will give away his position. They are holding on the angle, but the flank comes in. Perfect timing as the teamwork is there. The old bait and switch with Nesk to backstab onto Rise. You've now lost out on your Nomad. There goes the Maverick, and it just keeps on going from bad to worse. It's down into a 2 versus 3 now. Cypress and Scardina, the last 2 remaining on the side of Santos. Can they somehow slap Liquid in the face and bring this one back into a winnable position? If so, they have to react quick. They need to get onto site and put Moringa to bed. The mute that cannot be silenced switches it out to Big Papa Pump, but he won't get a chance to use it because Sexy's caught him on the rotate. Cypress getting into the last remaining firefight, but instead you've got to dash out of there because the round is done.
Easy for Liquid, essentially, in round 4. I hope that I'm right in this play, Jackie. The Nitro coming out from Palu was purely to distract Rise. It was purely to draw attention, and you could just see Nesk moving around the back of him. It was absolutely beautiful. It shows the level of understanding between these two players. And, you know, we've both said Palu's had a little bit of a quiet one so far. He's 3 kills in 3 rounds. He's still not doing bad. It's just that is a little bit quiet by his standard. You know, he's still in there doing the work, and he's facilitating Nesk at this point. Just out goes the nitro. A lot of noise gets made. It draws the eye of the attacker. Rise looks over. What's that? Is the push coming from that direction? Not only that, but it covers footsteps. That explosion, that level of noise, it happens with gunfire as well. You just put down some cover in gunfire, and it just helps to distort that sound of Nesk approaching from behind, and then it is the freest kill he's ever going to have into the back of Rise. Beautifully worked from them two.
Well, that's the fact, right? Like a contact play like that, where you kind of played off his contact, because as soon as that nitro went off, I think he expected the push to then come around afterwards. He fires out some warning shots. You've then got the read, and Ness can just rock up like the life of the party and put him to bed. He turned the lights out, then the entire round just exploded into commotion. Liquid clean up like they do. And again, it just comes down to them playing really solid defensive angles. Their crossfires are on point. We saw that. When Moringa was finally tested towards the site, he donned the shot in. It seemed like maybe we're going to have a chance for him to unload some of the slugs. Didn't need to, because, of course, the angle's covered. Sexy, playing from all the way across, had a clear line of sight. As soon as they get the read, he's being pushed. Bob's out, takes him down. Bob's your uncle. You've got another round. And they've got more than just one round. They have 4 in the bank already here. It's been a flawless defense so far. And at this point, where's it end? Where'd you finally actually make them come unstuck, Tim, and give a round over to Santos? Can they get a round?
It's going to be a big ask, top and bottom of it. You know, we have to paint a picture as accurately as we can, and right now, even getting a round off this Liquid team is going to be a mountain to climb, and you've just seen the level of coordination that they've got. You know, they've really come back strong. This is what we wanted to see from Team Liquid. They needed to come in here showing that slight dip in form at the wrong time of the stage last time around in stage 1 was just that, a dip in form, and they are ready to fight for this one, and they've come back, if anything, more motivated, and that is exactly how they look at the minute. They just look absolutely electric. There is nothing that Santos can do to disrupt them, and I'm at a loss now for what Santos can do differently here. They need to go in and just try and take a couple of gunfights and get themselves at least a man advantage. Even getting the diffuser hasn't been, you know, getting that down and active on the ground hasn't been enough so far.
Oh, man. Crazy, crazy stuff so far. This has looked solid from Team Liquid. But, of course, we want your opinion on the game. You can speak to us and let us know. We've been hard at work getting it implemented, but we can now also bring up your thoughts and feelings on stream if you use the hashtag BR6. Tweet in to me and Tim and let us know how you feel about it, as we do have a tweet that has just come in, Tim. Let's
right
go,
on
Liquid.
cue.
Hashtag BR6. Have a look at that.
Bringing all the mod cons, Jackie. All the bells and whistles are coming to English-speaking Latam.
Oh, mate, we like to keep it funky, we like to keep it fresh, and we're doing that on a day-by-day basis here with the show. Unfortunately, I don't think you could describe the play that's come out so far from Santos as fresh. It looks a little bit aged, whereas Team Liquid, they are certainly the ones that have a beautiful coat of blue paint all over them.
Pushing forward, 30 seconds to go. It will be Palu who opens up this round with a kill onto Scardenia. That's going to be the Ash off the board. And once again, you just don't feel like there's anywhere near enough progress being made by Santos here for them to even think about being in a position to get the diffuser down. We've got Echo drones still in action. We've got 5 Liquid operators. We've got Sexy Cake absolutely itching with that nitro in hand. Nesk and Palu just going wild. Mighty will trade him out, but you just have to think it's too little too late. Nesk with another 2 to finish off a 3k on the round. That was the Nesk and Palu show, as Theme Park is certainly turning into one step at a time. Look at that. That's experience talking for you. He knows that a second is going to push him from the side, and he just keeps Mouse 1 held down and picks up a double.
Man. Tim, last season we spoke about the idea of having those mythical games. You know, we were saying about unicorn games. If you have a flawless 7-0, It looks like it's doable. It looks like it very well could crop up at this point. If they go through to have a flawless defense half, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out swinging. They've got the tempo, they've got the confidence. Liquid are looking just as good as where they left off last season. Still, really a sight to behold.
Heading into initiation again, and there is of course an important roster move that we haven't actually mentioned as of yet, Jackie. It does impact Team Liquid. It's not something that you can see on your screen specifically, but for anybody who is unaware, Team Liquid did make, I won't say necessarily a roster change, but I will say that they made an addition to the roster in the break, and that is that Mav, who left FaZe, moved across to Team Liquid. He has, I believe, primarily joined the coaching staff at Team Liquid. He is there to bring something to the table in the back room, but is also there as an optional 6th player as well. So it could be over the stage. We don't know exactly how that is going to work out. We don't know whether that has been with an intention of when maybe a player is unavailable for some reason, I don't know, just to cover it, in case there was a sickness or something, he's available, or whether there is actually an intention to rotate him in for games here and there to give other players a break. Not sure at this point, but it's certainly, it's never going to harm your team, is it? Bringing in a player like Mav with his sort of experience, adding him to your backroom staff, it's just going to be another strengthening move.
Oh, mate, it's such a blessing, right? Genuinely, he was such a nice guy, of course, the last season. Not only that, he can back it up inside and out of the server with just how damn smart he is about Siege. So that's a huge asset to have. If you plop him into that roster, if there's ever a time where you need an outside perspective, obviously, sometimes when you are in that the core 5, it's hard. You tunnel vision in. You don't notice where the mistakes can be coming from. Having Mav there on the sidelines to analyze those demos, look back on the VODs and understand where exactly you can alter things is fantastic for a team like Liquid, and could potentially be the edge they need to go that next step, to get themselves another level up in the overall world scene of Siege. And they're already at the top, so it's a huge move to make.
It is, and I think, it's something that we are seeing from the top teams, is this sort of continued expansion towards facilities, looking at somebody like Dark Zero in the NA League, of course, or, whether it be rosters, whether it be backroom staff. Obviously, a team like G2 have got Shas and Sua both working together, and it seems to be an extension that we really are seeing time and time again across the top teams. So Liquid certainly keeping themselves at pace with that, but it's definitely an interesting angle to take on it, to bring somebody in who really has that playing ability as well, and has played at the absolute top tier. So you just give yourself that additional option. Now Cyprus takes an option there onto Sexy Cake and will shut him down, and that's going to open things up for Santos. This could be the start that they need to pick up a round. Nesk going down as well, 5 versus 3 now. It's the first time we've seen this sort of advantage in the hands of Santos. Wag once again very focused on getting that diffuser down, does so in the office site this time around, has a couple of men covering him as he does that, and then out comes that extension of the shield, and it's going to make it very difficult for Team Liquid to retake this. As you can see, the battle lines are drawn, and we've got Team Liquid on the bottom half of the map, pushing into Santos on the top. Now, this Monty challenge from Palu could be a very important moment. PSK will take down Cyprus. The big enemy here could be the clock. Palu deals with the Monty, and all of a sudden we are in a switcheroo. 3 versus 1 now for Liquid. It's time to get onto that diffuser. What? PSK shuts down Rise, and how about that? 3 versus 5. There is nothing to stop this Liquid team right now.
How do you give them that retake? They're at a disadvantage. You're in a position where you've got everything in your corner. You've got to draw a line in the sand and make that be your first round. The fact Liquid have been able to pull that back, essentially, Tim, have been gifted 1 versus 1s, is mind-blowing to me. It goes to show, obviously, Liquid, fair play, retake like that, it does take a lot of skill coming from them, but there's mistakes that have been made there from Santos. They've gave him an in, they've gave him an inch, and Team Liquid, they have taken an absolute mile. 6-0 at the half, coming in fresh now, ready to potentially close this one down as a unicorn game, as a flawless victory. 7-0 if they get this next round. This is all it rides on.
The big question that has to be asked there, Jackie, is not only was it a 5 versus 3, but you had a Montagna alive as well. That that just whacks a multiplier on top of it. You know, once the diffuser is down, having a Monty on the board is massive. He allowed himself to be cornered in office by Palu. Even then, in a 1v1, it's still generally 50-50. Monty, you know, quite often comes out on top of those because it is tricky to deal with him. You've got to get in there and you've got to melee the shield to get him to drop the shield, or you've sort of got to try and bait him into dropping it himself to try and take the pistol shot onto you, or to try the melee himself. And Palu's just dealt with that fantastically. I mean, let's be honest, being stuck in a room with Palu is probably the last place on earth that you want to be, whether you're Montagnero or not, because you know that he's got the ability to deal with that situation. But even still, that's a big throwaway from Santos there. That really should have been around for them. At 5 versus 3 with a Monty alive, you're not going to see that very often.
No, they gave them 1v1s. They didn't play to the strength of the operator picks they had coming into it. And obviously, you know, I don't want to harp on and say that it was full of mistakes, but it was full of mistakes. It could have been their first round. It should have been their first round. Now, Team Liquid, you're set up to just behead this, slay the beast here on the first map between Santos, and walk away with a flawless 7-0 victory. And honestly, with how they've been playing, I think at this point, it will most likely end in that 7-0 manner. We're going in to the final round of the game here. If Team Liquid can shut it down, there needs to be a massive response from Santos. In terms of the timing, we're down to about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They've got map control. This is a fairly standard take from Team Liquid in the way they play it over towards the Dragon Stairs, where they will charge in. You get the 3 player grouped up. Also, you've got Sexy on the Monty, and he is incredibly effective at being that human shield to let you get entry frags. He'll walk in, take the focus, take the damage, and set you up for success when it comes to getting an opening kill.
The big hope for Santos here is the sighting question. As I said last time around, Team Liquid did struggle attacking onto Throne. There is no two ways about it. We saw them play Theme Park twice in the regular stage of Stage 1, and they only had a 25% win rate. They attacked here 4 times and lost 3 of them. So that is the hope for Santos here, that they can get them. So they just have to take this one round at a time now. That's their absolute only option, is to just come in and focus on each one, make it 6-1, and try to fight back to 6-2, so on and so forth, and see exactly where they can get. You don't even start thinking about the comeback until you're maybe 6-4 on the board. Right now, Team Liquid are taking their time. They still don't have the reinforcement off. It's getting very risky for PSK to keep going in here and trying to drop this reinforcement. As you can see, he's just trying to figure out exactly which strut it is that hasn't been burnt through, but with 50 seconds left on the clock, there is still work to be done, and this basically sums up very well Team Liquid's attacking history on this night, I think.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we basically seen exactly that play, right? Where they've been grinded to a halt by this wall and struggled to find their way in. At least now they've been able to deal with it. They can open it up and give a shield side hole for the Monty to push through. But let's see if there's going to be some major mistakes or some massive Monty moves. Wagyu going sick there on the entry, finds the headshot onto Sexy, but there's a trade back from Palu, a man whose name we've not actually said that much throughout the course of this map just yet, but this might be one of those rounds for Palu the Punisher to arrive on the scene. Utility getting thrown out, but it's not doing too much when it comes to actually hitting your shots. Papa Pump was donned, but it's not going to connect. It's all falling to pieces. It's on Palu in a 1 versus 3. He's got to push out. He needs to get the kills because the round is over. You can't find the diffuser. You can't get the picks. They concede a round, and Santos at least deny having this be a flawless 7-0 game.
Well, that's something for them, and as I say, you can only take things one round at a time now. Team Liquid's torrid time on Throne continues as they fail once again to get a victory on the attack there. It is a site that they really need to go away and have a look at, and as I say, those attacks through that maintenance breach, Jackie, it's all we seem to see in LATAM, but the success of it is really, really limited, and I'd like to see teams just developing to get a little bit more ground floor control so that they can open up the north wall and just see what happens. Because if you remember when Team Liquid were defending in there, it was pretty much defended by Sexy Kit back on that opposite side. And whilst that north wall is closed, the defenders are always just going to sit in there on that side because there's just no challenge onto them. There are small areas of the ceiling above them, so that's another option. Get in there, destroy that floor from upstairs and see if you can get a line of sight down onto them. But something needs to be done when attacking Throne and Armory to disrupt the defenders that are in there, because so often they are just able to hold angles We've just seen it on the replay there. Just able to hold those tight angles onto the breach, and they know that all the pressure is going to come from there. So attacking-wise, not just Team Liquid, I'd say throughout LATAM, I want to see some more options there onto Throne and Armory.
Yeah, they need to come up with a new execute, because I mean that one literally fails more than we've ever seen success, which is hard as well, because you think at how good normally Team Liquid are at adapting and making even uncomfortable rounds work. We've just seen that go wrong far too many times for it to still be their bread and butter execute on towards Throne Room. I don't know. Obviously, early doors doesn't really matter too much in the sense of the overall game, as at this point you are still at match point. You do only need one round to shut it down. You've got a buffer to work with. You've got 4 rounds that you can really throw away before your backs are going to be up and you're going to be a bit scared about this potentially being a draw. And with some of the rounds that you've seen Santos drop right now, it doesn't feel like they're as on point as they have been previously. So I don't imagine Liquid are going to be too stressed. Just take it on the chin, keep your mental fortitude, go back in, pick this up as a 7-1. Again, so far, standard stuff in terms of the execution. It's the basic setup we've seen from them when Liquid do go over onto their attack. This time, the only difference being you don't have the Monty in play, of course. They've switched over and got Sexy Cake on the Ace. A move that, genuinely, Tim, I feel like if you had that back into the first round with the execute they wanted to go for, you could have had that wall down with ease. You could have flooded out on site and gone for a fast attack like it looked like they wanted to go for.
Yeah, they wasted a lot of time. We commented on it. And PSK, it was not the plan. You know, that much is fair to say. PSK was struggling to find just which part of that reinforcement was actually keeping it upright. But ultimately, it was very detrimental to them because it meant then that they were pushing late round through that breach. But I definitely want to see something different coming out of attacks onto that Throne Armory because it just is not working. I mean, in terms of the map, as you say, I'll call it now, Jackie. This map is over. There is no way that Liquid do not win one attacking round. That is not going to happen. They are going to find success somewhere. They are unbeaten when attacking initiation and office, for example. PSK is fantastic at getting in and getting that diffuser down, and then the post plant is second to none in there. So I can't see that there isn't going to be a round for them somewhere. And Team Liquid, Nesk, Palu have been hitting the shots as well. It's surely just a matter of time at this point. But overall, it just shows a chink in the armor.
It definitely does. It definitely does. It shows there's the weakness there. But in the grand scheme of it all, you are right. This one is basically a ticking time bomb. You can delay the inevitable, but it is always going to be just that. An inevitable victory in the end here for Liquid. They just look like they tower over them. And Mighty, though, he wants to at least fight back, and he's taken out one of their feet of the giant team of Team Liquid, so they've stumbled a little bit. You've lost Ringer, Buck's out of commission. It's a bit of utility that goes away with it as well. You don't have the skeleton key to make quick work of those soft walls. But is there going to be a soft spot for Santos in the round? Or will it be the side of Team Liquid that finally closed down the game? Here comes the aggression, not leaving themselves too long to execute on this one, so you better not make any mistakes, as it has to be pixel perfect in every encounter. They get the first 2 opening frags, but there's a bit of a bloodlust, and the trades come back in. They find success though. At the end, they pick it up off the back of Ness shutting down Cyprus, and a team kill going out. That's the way they close down the game, as they will find success in the end, right down to the wire. They didn't give a damn about the plant. They didn't want to win from the diffuser. They just wanted to make the other team look like losers, and they clean up in the hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, it's tough to have a team kill, especially to finish the game off like that. But as I said, ultimately, I think that one was over the line long before that happened, and it was just a matter of time. Team Liquid looking very, very solid against Santos there. It's difficult